Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash, and it's La Liga week 37, and it's still up for grabs. It's the two Madrid sides, Atletico and Real, that go head-to-head. We are already writing off Barcelona. Sevilla are just going to come up a little bit short, even though they've had an unbelievable season. I've got Martin, and I've got Euan from La Liga Lowdown. Euan, by far the best of all the La Liga Lowdown boys. But if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, and ring the bell. Ring the bell means I can notify you. And you will not miss any content again, which is a massive bonus because we've got the USPGA next week, which is massive. Second major of the season following the Masters in the golfing world. And also there's a Premier League show on Monday because we have a midweek card as well. Now, Euan, down to the Madrid sides. We're right to write off Barcelona.
Yeah, I think it's time. 4 points back now with two rounds to go. Yeah, that draw they had in midweek against Levante, their heads just kind of went, didn't they? It was interesting. You look at the big three teams, all of them at some point in the last round were winning 2-0, conceded to be winning 2-1, and they all had different approaches. Real Madrid went and won 4-1. They went on the offensive. Atletico locked down, managed to hold that 2-1 lead all the way to the end, and Barcelona just collapsed. I think they're out of it. I think it's, as we saw in the thumbnail for this show, it's Zidane versus Simeone now.
Yeah, so whoever does that thumbnail, very knowledgeable individual, and I give that person the utmost credit. Martin, the big thing I like about Atletico, and you know I've not liked Atletico all season, was they came out the traps, they stamped their authority, and they got deserved 2-0 lead that could have been 3, 4 or 5.
Yeah, it could have been, and a very important win for them. Destiny still in their own hands, and you know if they go and beat Osasuna this weekend, then they've got one hand on the trophy. It's still going to be very tense, you know. Real Madrid are breathing down their necks. Who knows what's going to happen? They're the sort of team as well. They don't really blow the opposition away. They go 1-0 up or 2-0 up, and then they hang on and defend. So it's going to be a nervy couple of weeks for their fans, I think. Not sure I'd particularly enjoy being an Atletico Madrid fan in the next couple of weeks, but it's certainly going to be interesting for the neutrals.
Yeah, the big thing about Atletico now is that they go 2-0 up, and they're happy because they know that teams do not score free against them. And this week it's Osasuna. So for me, I see both Madrid sides winning. But let's kick straight off because we got Athletic Club at plus 480, draw plus 350, and Madrid. I cannot believe this, minus 155. Euan.
Yeah, I mean it's a good price. Athletic Club have nothing to play for at this point in the season. But the strange thing about Athletic Club is they've had nothing to play for. They just lost to Huesca in midweek. They've drawn recently with Osasuna, with Valladolid. But they seem to still be turning up for the big games. Remember, they beat Atletico Madrid at home not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and they beat Sevilla away. So they're really up for trying to ruin other teams' title chances. I think this is a team that, you know, does rise for the big occasion. It's a big, proud club. They like these big fixtures. So it's still going to be a difficult one for Real Madrid. Of course, they've got to go away for the second game in a row, and they might be a little bit tired because they played in Granada on Thursday night. That game finished at midnight Spanish time. They couldn't fly straight back to Madrid because Granada airport was closed. They had to take an hour-and-a-half bus to Malaga, fly from there. They didn't get home till about 5 in the morning this morning. They've trained today. They found out Toni Kroos has to isolate with coronavirus. It's not been the best preparation for this game, but when all the marbles are on the line, Real Madrid usually show up. So I think there's a few reasons why the price is so good. But if you trust Real Madrid to turn up in big games, which they've done for years, and also in this season, it's the small games where they've dropped points, then I think you still have to go and back Zidane's men.
Yeah, without a doubt. Martin, that minus 155 looks a great parlay piece. Or if you fancy they're going to score more than one, you just go Madrid and over 1.5.
Yeah, I'm backing Real Madrid to show up in a big game. They didn't show up against Chelsea, but I think they were really tired in that game. They had a horrendous fixture pile up, and they weren't themselves. In a game like this, I think they can get the job done against Athletic Club. I went for it, you know, week in, week out at this time last season. Real Madrid and under 4.5 goals kept paying off. I can see it paying off again here. I don't think we're going to see over 4.5 goals in this game. I know we did in the last one, but Athletic Club are a different animal. I think they'll keep things tighter. So, yeah, I'm going for a pretty low-scoring Real Madrid win in this game.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think that there's definitely not going to be 5 goals in this game. I mean, Real Madrid get themselves in front, maybe get a second, and then they try and shut up shop. It all depends what Athletic Club turns up, really. But yeah, Real Madrid all the way for me. I've put in a 3-team parlay. Madrid is my first leg. Next game, Atletico minus 350, draw plus 550. Osasuna at plus 1500. Again, minus 350 for a side that know they've got to win the game. It's great value, Martin.
It is great value, yeah. Things kind of fell into place reasonably well for Simeone. A lot of key players came back from injury, suspension at just the right time, and he's got all his big guns available to him now. So, as I say, their destiny's in their own hands. They've only got to beat Osasuna, who, okay, they're in decent form, but they're bang average, really, mid-table. They're not going to reach European places. They're absolutely not going to get relegated. No real motivation to go and win this game, apart from maybe the thought of putting a spanner in the works for the title race. So, yeah, I just think, once again, we should see a very tense win for Atletico Madrid. I've gone for half-time, full-time, because they're the sort of team that like to get their noses in front and then just sort of sit back and defend doggedly. I think we could see that happening again in this game. And you can get minus 110 on that, which I like the look of.
Yeah, I bet you do. I think half-time, full-time is the way to go, Euan. I think that Atletico come out the traps, get their noses in front, and then it's whether they hang on. I think they hang on.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great shout, Martin. You know, you look at the last few games, they've started really well. Each of them, the one against Real Sociedad, they came out flying, had a few chances, went 2-0 up eventually. Even against Barcelona, which finished 0-0 the first half at the Camp Nou, they were the better team. They had the chances, Barcelona didn't. And the week before that too, against Elche, they came out absolutely flying, got a goal, had an offside goal, had a penalty that got overturned. They were looking good in the first half. It was only in the second half when basically when Simeone does his typical thing and brings on Kondogbia, tries to lock down the game, that's when it starts to get a bit nervy. But they do tend to hang on in those situations. Against an Osasuna side that, as we mentioned, have nothing to play for. Their last game in midweek against Cadiz, they even started to rotate some of their players, give some of their youth players a chance, a run out against Cadiz. Cadiz did the same. It was a fun game, actually, 3-2 with two teams that were basically playing a glorified friendly. So, yeah, Osasuna have nothing to play for. Atletico have it all to do. And I think in years past, Atletico fans were frustrated that their teams sometimes sleepwalked the first halves. They didn't come into it too intensely. That's not been the case this year. It's not been the case in the past month. They're starting every game really up for it. And I think, yeah, that's a good shout for Atletico to get their noses in front and either hold on or even, if they're having a good day, extend it.
Yeah, minus 110, half-time, full-time for the La Liga Primera leaders, 2-point leaders as well. Now, if there's some value to be had, it's probably in this next game. Euan, it's Barcelona minus 400, draw plus 650, and Celta Vigo, who score goals home and away, at plus 1100.
Yeah, I can't really believe this about Celta Vigo because they do have something to play for. They've won their last 4. They're in really good form. Barcelona at this point, they do still have a chance of the title, but we've seen it before with Barcelona when things don't go their way, when the wind blows against them, their heads go down and they don't respond. We saw this last year, actually, at the second last game of the season. Real Madrid were about to win the league. Barcelona knew they had really no chance. And their second last game of the season, they lost 2-1 at home to Osasuna, who had nothing to play for. I sort of think we could see something like that again. Celta Vigo are the kind of team that always give Barcelona problems. They play good football. They get the ball out to Aspas. They attack. They have a good system. And I think Celta Vigo can do this. And to get even more value for Celta Vigo to win at the Camp Nou and both teams to score, because I do think if Celta Vigo win, it's with Barcelona scoring at least one. That's plus 1,400. And I just can't quite believe these odds because I know Barcelona are in the title race, but from my point of view, I think it's Celta Vigo who have more to play for this weekend.
Wow, and even Celta Vigo double chance to be massive, but you're saying Celta Vigo to win and both teams to score at plus 1,400. I think that's almost like a
why not? Why
not?
Why not?
No, if that's what you believe. I mean, listen, there'll be plenty of people having a few shekels on that at plus 1,400. That's the biggest individual bet we've seen all season, Martin.
So.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like it. I like how bold it is. It's not one that I'm going to go for, but I do.
Shock.
Yeah, I like to keep things a little bit more cautious than that. But I definitely agree with all of Euan's points. I agree with the sentiment. I think this is a really, really difficult game for Barcelona. Distinctly underwhelmed by that 3-3 draw last time out, and Celta have just been terrific going forwards. You know, they scored 4 in the absence of Aspas, and they've got him back. They've got very good players around him. You know, Nolito's scoring, and they're playing with confidence. They've got momentum, which is really important at this time of the season. Oh, and yeah, really, really difficult one for Barcelona. I can also see both teams scoring, and I can see it going over 2.5 goals. So I've stayed away from the outrights and gone for the old Alex classic. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals.
Okay, I wouldn't put anyone off of maybe Celta Vigo +1, so they get the draw and the win, and maybe both teams to score. I think the Alex Classic's definitely in play. Listen, there's plenty of value, but we will be cheering on the +1400 from Euan. That's why we have him on. That's why I always say he is the best of the La Liga Lowdown boys, because he finds all the value. Now then, Sociedad -105, Martin. Draw +280. Valladolid +535. Can't believe this price. And by the way, I've stuck Madrid in my parlay. I stuck Atletico in my parlay. And this is my third leg of a 3-team parlay. I've gone with a home side. I cannot believe I'm getting -105 about a side that match it with the best against a side that are finished for me. So Sociedad, they win the game at -105, Martin.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm a big fan of Sociedad. I like the way they play. It would be great for them to finish 5th and hold off the challenge of Real Betis and Villarreal. I personally hate betting against teams that are fighting for their lives at the bottom of the table. I know we haven't seen a great deal of fight from Valladolid in recent weeks, which is a bit of a shame. But you never know. The way that Ibar have been pulling results out when everyone thought they were dead and buried, that just suggests to me that you never know what's going to happen with teams that are, you know, backs against the wall. So I'm avoiding Valladolid. I'm avoiding Elche. I'm avoiding Huesca. I'm not betting on any of them. I'm staying away from this one, but if you're on it, Flash, I hope
I'm on it.
Sociedad win.
Nice one. Euan, Sociedad at home at -105. Looks just too good to pass up.
Yeah, it's not any of my official picks, but I do definitely lean towards Real Sociedad for this one. Real Valladolid is 10 games now without a win. They do have a few draws in that run, 6 draws. They have more draws than anybody in La Liga. But, I mean, this is a thing. When Real Valladolid have to really attack you, you can completely exploit them. They can't play for a draw anymore. They need to start playing to win. And that's a bad sign for Real Valladolid because they're not really that good at that. And I think this is looking a bit too far ahead, but in the final round of the season, Atletico go away to Real Valladolid. I think the best thing for Atleti is if Real Valladolid need to win that game, because then they won't just sit and play their 5-5, 0 formation that they so often do. So they have to go. They have to be bold. They have to be ambitious. Real Sociedad have the players to pick them off. I can see this one definitely finishing with a home win.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's the reason I've gone with them, is because all the pace that they've got in attacking situations, and Valladolid cannot just sit around and wait. So, I mean, it's one of those, hit them on the break, get themselves 1 or 2 up, then they have to overcommit or they just chuck the towel in for me. Okay, Cadiz at +240. I was quite surprised, Euan, to see this on my card. Draw +220, and Elche at +140. I think Elche at +140. Are they relying on Cadiz being on holiday?
I think so. Cadiz being on the beach, which literally they are. That's about a 2-minute walk from the beach. And like I said, they played Osasuna in midweek and made a bunch of rotations. They also have a bunch of injuries. They've done their job. They've done their homework in time, so they can have a bit of fun now. And yeah, I think Cadiz are there for the taking if Elche really turn up. And I think Elche really have to go for it as well. So this one, I'm not too sure how this one plays out, but I do think we'll get goals in this one. So I'm going for over 2.5 goals. That's +150. And I think one of the keys to that is the fact that I think the 2 best goalkeepers between these 2 teams will be in the bench. Cadiz rested Ledesma in midweek, who's their starting goalkeeper, gave one of the young guys a chance. I think they'll do the same this weekend. And Elche a few weeks ago benched Edgar Badia, who was being one of the best goalkeepers in all of La Liga, to put in Gazaniga on loan from Spurs. Nobody still really knows why that is. Apparently it's to do with contracts and some sort of behind-the-scenes stuff. At the end of the day, I think the two best goalkeepers from these teams won't be playing. So I think we'll see some goals, a bit like we saw in midweek when Cadiz lost 3-2 to Osasuna. Wouldn't surprise me if we see another back and forth kind of game with goals, especially because Elche have to go for it. And they have, for the first time in weeks, they have all their strikers healthy.
Yeah, testimonial type game we're expecting from you and Martin, which means goals.
Yeah, I like that angle. Like it a lot. As I say, I'm avoiding Elche on the outrights, but yeah, goals sounds like an interesting one to go for. I think
Plus 150 as well, over 2.5.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Could see a pretty open game in this one. Cadiz are quite fun to watch at the moment. Yeah, I watched that 3-2 exhibition game. It was a good one. I'm glad for them. I'm pleased that they're staying up. They showed a bit of ambition in the summer transfer window, and they deserve it. They've had a good run of results.
Yeah, their spirit and togetherness was the big thing for me. I mean, they were so tough to beat in the early rounds, and they got themselves results you never thought they'd get. Even when they got a draw, they stuck together, and now they're getting their rewards, and they can enjoy themselves.
Yeah, interested to see what they do next summer. I don't think they're going to splash too much cash, but there's plenty of free transfers and loans out there that they could do to strengthen. Yeah, as I say, not betting on this one, but I like that angle. I may take a closer look at it and give it some good consideration.
Yeah, you just do that. Okay, until then, Alaves minus 110, draw plus 275, and Granada at plus 340. Martin, any leans? And how do you think the game goes?
This is another one I sort of left alone, Flash. Obviously, the form tells you that it's going to be an Alaves win. They've done pretty well to drag themselves out of the relegation zone with their recent results, and Granada have been terrible. But when I look at the actual quality of the two teams, I think Granada are the better team. They really should be winning games like this, which suggests to me that I can't work it out. So I have no leans. My only lean here is to not bet on it.
Yeah, I mean, Euan, what have you found in this game? Because this is Alaves I've not got right, and I've dug really deep all season to try and get Granada right. So what have you got?
Yeah, I mean, with this one, I'm going with Alaves. I was trying to find reasons to talk myself out of it, but I couldn't. If anything, I found reasons to talk myself into even more. Granada, they've found out this week they can't get into Europe again. This will be their 57th game of the season. Remember, they had to start all the way back in the Europa League qualifying rounds, and they went quite far in the Cup and in the Europa League until they met Man United. So Granada are knackered. They have a bunch of players out injured. I think it will be 9 absences they have for this game. And if you saw them against Real Madrid, they just looked absolutely shattered. They just looked physically, mentally not really up for it. Their back line is demolished. Players playing out of position. They have nothing to play for. They've actually conceded the most goals of anyone in La Liga. Granada, even though they're firmly in mid-table, about 10 for 11th, I think, but they've conceded 61 goals, more than anybody else. And Alaves have it all to do. Javi Calleja came in a few weeks ago. He's now had 7 matches. He's taken 12 points from those 7 matches. He's turned it around. He's got them playing. It's not done yet for them. They know that they still maybe need another point or 3. And this is certainly a good chance to do it home against a team that has nothing to play for, that's banged up, that's knackered because they've had the longest season of anyone. I think Alaves go out and do the business, because if they do that, they'll probably seal their survival this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, again, you make a great case, because the other thing with Granada is if they go down, they don't come back. They chuck the towel in, and it's one of those. Granada are like your flat track bullies, that they need to go 1 or 2 up, and then they're like, oh, we all want to play today. But with Alaves, they've got to come out and play. I've not got them right all season, but listen, there is great value there at minus 110, and maybe even great value in maybe the goals as well. But last game is Villarreal at plus 150. Villarreal fans will say that's a great price. Draw plus 260. Sitting on the fence, that's a great price. But this price, Sevilla at plus 190. Euan, Sevilla for me are better than Villarreal. Villarreal have obviously got eyes on a much bigger prize, and I already think that Sevilla are a better side.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think this is where we start to see Villarreal rest a few players ahead of the Europa League final. I don't think Emery will rest everybody in the final game, because remember that's against Real Madrid they have on the final day. I don't think they'll rest everybody in a oneer. I think he'll have half of his starters rested this weekend, half of them next weekend. I think Sevilla can exploit that. Sevilla right now have 0 injuries, 0 suspensions. They're still looking quite fresh. They got a good win against Valencia in midweek. They can't win the title anymore. It's mathematically over for Sevilla. But keep this in mind: if they manage to finish ahead of Real Madrid, they get into next year's Super Cup, which is a big thing for a team like Sevilla to be in that 4-team Super Cup, to have a chance of winning a trophy. And maybe even more importantly, if you're in the Super Cup, you get a bye through the first 3 rounds of the Copa del Rey. You don't have to go to the tiny little pitches of AstroTurf on cold winter nights. So I think Sevilla have plenty still to play for. They're playing a team who's maybe looking ahead. Even the players who do play, you know what it's like when you have a final coming up. They're maybe not going to go into every challenge as much as they normally would, just for fear of not being able to make it for the Europa League final. So I think the odds are fantastic for a Sevilla win. I think they finish the season strong, even if they don't win the league. I've got to take Sevilla in this one.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's not one of my officials, but it's something I'm definitely interested in. Martin, what about the unders or both teams to score no?
Yeah, not sure about that one, Flash. But I'm.
Do you think Villarreal score?
Well, I'm just. That doesn't particularly interest me. I'm just more interested in betting on Sevilla in this game. I don't really understand why they're the underdogs. I do think that Villarreal will rest players. I remember Unai Emery resting a bunch of players when Arsenal was still in the top 4 towards the end of the season, and they ended up finishing outside of the top 4 and losing the Europa League final. Can see him doing the same thing again. This is a really big thing for him. He wants to be Man United. And Sevilla do still have things to play for. Like Euan said, there's that Super Cup angle, but I think more than anything, it's the pride that comes with potentially finishing above Real Madrid and Barcelona. You know, if you can do that, that's a real sort of statement of intent going forward. Could help them attract players in the summer. And I do think they're a better team than Villarreal. They beat them 2-0 earlier in the season. They've got no injuries. They're not resting players. True. I really can't understand why they're the underdogs. I've got plus 110 on Sevilla draw no bet. So if it draws, I get my money back. If they win, I'm more than double my money, which just looks like
it makes sense.
Price.
It totally makes sense, Mark. It totally makes sense. Okay, Esteban, can you stick up the official picks, please? Okay, so we're going to have a little look here. We've got Atletico half-time, full-time at -110. Real Madrid and under 4.5 goals at -110. Barcelona, Alex Classic, -125. Sevilla, draw no bet, +110. Alaves, -110. Cadiz, over 2.5 goals in the game at +150, looks good. Sevilla at +155. Now it's now gone out to 190, so God knows how. And Celta Vigo to win and both teams to score at +1400. That is absolutely massive, and it's the biggest one individual we've seen all season. And we've got Madrid, Atletico, and Sociedad 3-team parlay at +240. 2-team parlay, please, gentlemen, and you can go first.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with one of your picks there and go for Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid, I'm still not fully sure. I'm not going to bet on Real Madrid this weekend, but Atletico at home to Osasuna, they've got everything on the line. They've surely got to get it done one way or another. I think you've got to stick Atletico in there and bump the price up.
Yeah, I agree. I think Atletico come out the charts. I'm definitely going to do a bit of half-time, full-time when the game kicks off as well, Martin.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're putting forward Atletico, I'll have to put forward Real Madrid. I think, in a big game, they should get the job done against Athletic Bilbao, Athletic Club. I went for Real Madrid and under 4.5 goals. I would put that in. Or if we're just doing straight wins,
No, that's good enough.
Yeah.
I like that. Of course, I don't see 5 goals in the Madrid game. You've got to be crazy. I mean, it's all about them getting the win and don't care how they do it. And that's why we're getting such good odds at -155.
Right. Go for it then.
Okay, that's brilliant. Now, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button, and ring the bell. Ring the bell means I can notify you, and you'll never miss any content again. And that means that we've got Premier League show coming up on Monday because we've got a midweek card next week. And we've got the US PGA, second major of the season at Kiawah Island, which is one devil of a golf course. Let's hope the wind blows. Thank you, Euan. We'll see you again soon, I'm sure. Martin, see you Monday. Everyone have a great weekend and may all your bets be winners. You take care.
Slash.